Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Tonight, we set this scene. In the city of New York. Been a few days since their arrival. About 2.5 weeks since their escape from Liverpool. 2 long weeks across the sea. Across the Great Atlantic. For the most part, indignantly stuck within a freighter, as they had to hide from the world and the enemies that had wished to see them ash. And although they have managed to arrive within the great city, the great state of New York, have still yet to set up any permanent accommodation, and currently rest within an apartment in Brooklyn, around Crown Heights. High up enough where you can almost see the whole city. As they rest in a bed. And as the sun begins to set, they begin to rise. Geoffrey rises first. And Celaena is awoken by a kiss softly touching her cheek and 2 arms wrapped around her.
She will make some intelligent mumbling noises as she continues to try and fall back asleep.
It is a bit early for you to be up. Geoffrey's always gotten up a bit earlier than you. Not by too much, by about half an hour, but it's always been so difficult to get up before the appointed time. The curse forces you back down. But you can see his embrace wrap around you a little bit further. Morning, you.
Celaena responds, "Not yet. Come on, a few more minutes."
You always want to get up a few minutes later. Remember, we have to meet the prince tonight. It was remarkably generous of the Scourge to even allow us, residents within this city, to prepare ourselves. Half the time you're just dragged before them. Come on.
Do I have to? Can't I just hide underneath the covers?
No, you'd know I'd find you.
Your statement is rewarded with a pouty face. Fine. I'll get out. I tend to take longer to get ready anyway.
He'll his right hand places itself on your left cheek, and he'll kiss you softly on the lips as a bribe.
She chuckles. If you give me one more of those, there might not be getting out of bed at all the entire day.
He seems to consider this, and his hand runs down your side. And he places his
Celaena
forehead next to on yours. There can be plenty of messing around after introductions.
She huffs as she
Don't
pulls
test the
back her.
Boujar and his passion, or you might find your wish granted.
A mischievous grin appears in Celaena's face. Well, let's keep that in reserve for when we're celebrating. Otherwise, there's no way we're getting out of this apartment anytime soon.
Besides, we've done a lot of celebrating these past few days anyway.
She gives you a nudge.
Get boring if you overdo it.
Now that is something I can hardly believe.
His two hands wrap around, his two arms wrap around your neck, and he'll intimately kiss you for a few moments.
Celaena will return the kiss with as much passion as Geoffrey's putting in it.
That's a lot.
And through the kiss, she half mumbling says, "Well, we should better get out of bed. Otherwise, I don't see any of us, or either of us, getting dressed in the next hour."
I thought you wanted to sleep in.
Yeah, but I also want to look presentable, so. I'll sleep in tomorrow after.
It's not your presentation. You always look presentable.
Well, if I'm just woken up, I might still be a bit grumpy, and I don't think either of us wants to be grumpy when we meet the prince.
You know I'm famous for my lack of humor. I don't think I'll ever be considered not grumpy.
She kind of squeezes your cheeks as she pulls up your cheeks into a smile.
Ah, that hurts.
Oh,
Kind
no,
of
don't be a
playfully
wimp.
pats your hand away. All right. Enough messing around, you. He'll get out of bed.
Celaena will just throw the covers off of herself and roll out of bed as well.
You see him walk over to the bathroom when he begins taking a shower.
Celaena will walk towards her closet to go over the arrangement of clothes that she actually has to pick whatever outfit she's going to wear for tonight.
You can hear Geoffrey through from the bathroom up to your wardrobe. So you just hear him say, "So what do you plan to say to the prince tonight?"
Not anything that might offend him. She kind of yells back at you.
Yeah, and what do you think is going to offend him?
Celaena will be quiet for a few seconds. And she kind of comes to the conclusion that a lot of things that might be impulsive for her to say might offend the prince.
Perhaps that one time you told my sire to get the fuck away from me, you rat bastard, might not be something to repeat.
Yeah, you might want to do the talking, just to be sure.
He'll still ask you what you're doing here.
Mm. Well, I'll answer that I'm here to build a new life.
I'm sure he hasn't had that a million times.
Well, it doesn't make it less true.
Maybe, but he might inquire as to what that new life might be. Princes tend to be awfully cagey about the cities they own.
So, smartass, what are you going to say then?
I'll tell you when I'm out. I can get a few lines for you to rehearse before we go. It's a couple minutes of him continuing to wash over. And then you see him get out, towel around his waist, and then he begins to get dressed.
Yeah.
Right. So, the moment you see the prince, what do you do?
She kind of guesses. Bow?
Good. Like this. He actually bows in a very particular fashion. It's almost feudal looking. In fact, it very much reminds you of this like knightly bow, where his hands kind of gesture in and then out in a very clean flourish as he bows, and he has 1 foot forward and 1 foot back as he bows. My prince.
She repeats the gesture in front of you as she dips down as well as she says, "My prince."
Ah, no, you see, you curtsy.
You could see her like roll her eyes like, ah.
You're a fair lady, and as such, not subject to the limitations
You could see her raise one
of this fair
eyebrow.
gentleman. And the reason they do that is because in the old days, bowing with a dress like that on would have been damn near impossible. You are right to bow. I'm just teasing you.
She sticks out her tongue at you.
And once you say my prince and you bow, what do you say next? For the prince would be waiting for something important.
Who I am?
Yes.
Celaena will curtsy and will start off from the beginning. My prince, and then kind of look up at you and very carefully proceed with the next lines as like, am I completely sure this is right? My name is...
He takes he puts his hand on your head and tilts it down so that it's looking towards the ground.
You can hear a slight huff. But Celaena continues to look at the ground. And she will kind of like more forceful start over. My prince, kind of through her teeth. My name is Celaena Sardothian of Clan Toreador.
Geoffrey will take a knee. He will say, "I, fair lady, and Geoffrey Harper of Clan Brujar, child to Marcus Wilson."
Celaena seems to be having a lot of fun with this.
And then he'll stand up and then he will imitate a prince once more. "So, young neonate, what is it that brings you to this domain?" He paces back, his left arm flies open. And
Celaena points at your buttocks as she says, "That fine ass." And then absolutely loses it and starts to laugh uncontrollably.
This is good. How many times have we rehearsed this?
This is the 12th time now. Why?
Five full days of rehearsal. And you still can't stop looking at my ass. I'm kind of flattered, to be honest.
For a second, Celaena looked really bashful, but then as soon as you say that, she absolutely loses it again.
"Why, yes, young neonate, my ass is most fine. It is the finest ass in New York. Why? An ass could not be more fitting for the throne itself, wouldn't you say?"
Through like hiccups and laughter and wheezing, Celaena will try to get the following lines out of her mouth. "Well, my prince, I must say, I've never seen such a fine ass in my whole life."
"Your praise flatters me." He bows. "And yet, I can't help but think this ass needs a queen to sit beside it."
Celaena quite sincerely places her hand on her chest. "I will swear on my undead life, I will protect that ass with all my heart and serve it with all my heart."
And his arms wrap around you and pull you in, as he says, "Why, I think there are many ways you can serve this fine piece of ass."
You can see her bite her lip, trying to hold back laughter and tears.
"Seduce me."
You can literally see tears rolling down her face of laughter.
Bloody tears. Oh.
Yeah, well.
That actually causes Geoffrey to break his act for a moment. You can see he just takes one of the tears. Careful. You'll ruin your new dress.
She kind of composes herself as she wipes away the other tear.
He actually takes a napkin out of his suit jacket. I've always found it handy to have a napkin as a kindred. Helps wonderfully for covering up occasions like these.
She takes your napkin from you and she will dab away the little.
My fair lady.
Oh, oh my. She will kind of very over exaggerate it, wave herself like, oh my.
So, the prince, and he kind of, as you dabble your handkerchief over your eyes, over the bottoms of your eyes, he'll return to a slightly more on topic part of the conversation. So the prince asks me what I am doing here, and I say, my prince, I beseech you, I wish to set up a permanent residence in your domain as a recognized kindred of the former domain of Birmingham. I wish to serve here as I did there, and hope to create social and then he stops and he almost lets it hang in the air. Social celebrations in the name of the Ivory Tower and its participants, for which all are part of. It was a role I was most adept at Birmingham. And you can see him gesture. He has his hand where his heart would be. And you can see when he moves around and when he talks, he gestures very heavily with his hands, as if to emphasize every word to give it more impact and to express himself further. I wish to serve you as a loyal member of my clan in the Camarilla. And I wish that if you would have me, that I might serve in as full a capacity as I can, and perhaps in time, I might turn your attention beyond a simple introduction. My prince. And he bows again. Something like that. It could be, I am a young neonate of the clan of the Rose. Wishing to share and expand upon my works to this city, and aid my dearest compatriot here in his celebrations of the Ivory Tower and bring you peace, enjoyment, and success. No, scratch that. That I might add to your peace, prosperity, and praise.
Celaena will take out a notebook and she'll start scribbling everything down. I might kind of remember all of this.
For remember that the elders do not speak the same language that we do. And that in order to communicate with another, one must always adapt their manner of speaking to those that they wish to express themselves towards. So, for a gangrel, I would be much more casual. Let's say a gangrel neonate. I'd say, "Oh, good evening, mate. How are you doing tonight? Been through a rough few patches, but I'm sure things are going to be looking up for us soon, yeah? I mean, have a drink. It's on the house." But as a prince, I must be much more pronounced in my manner of speaking, much more even. They would expect a slow build-up to a climax, and then a slow ride down again. For they expect us to have been taught proper, and for our manners to be impeccable, and as such, our pacing in how we speak and in how we express ourselves to them to be impeccable as well. For we do not wish to be too blunt or too brief, but neither can we be too long in our manner of speaking. We cannot ramble. We must strike the perfect balance. So, he bows. "My prince, I am Geoffrey Harper, a neonate of the clan Bruges, child to Marcus Wilson." And then he asks me what I'm doing in this city, and I say, "My prince, I beseech you that I wish to set up a permanent residence in this city. For I am one of the former domain of Birmingham, unfortunately a shadow of what it once was, and I seek a new start within the new world. And if you would have me," and he bows, "I would wish to accommodate the younger blood in this city in regards to the celebrations of the Ivory Tower and its participants. For I understand that teenage years of rebellion tend to plague us all, but I've always, even within my former home, that I was given residence within, always had a knack for reaching out to those as young as I, and persuading, cajoling, and inspiring them to celebrate in the glory of the Camarilla, as we all should. If I may be so bold, of course. Remember that whenever you are bold, whenever you do praise yourself, remember to give it a caveat, like "if I may be so bold." For you do not wish to sound arrogant before the prince, but humble. For they expect you to be their servant. They expect you to be beneath them. And there is a kernel of truth to this, because they are stronger and more influential within this domain than yourself. And so we must come across as humble and cooperative and useful. Remember that I gave myself a use within my speech. I can reach out to those who would perhaps be inclined to rebel. I can reach out and bring the neonates under the heel of the prince. I can reach out and act as a young propagandist for His Majesty. You, for example, might perhaps give a minor implication as to your works or your skills, but do not be blunt about them. Remember to flourish with them. I'll buy you a thesaurus sometime. Imagine wielding twin swords in a Florentine style, in an intricate web of artistry. That is how we must speak to the prince to ensure our residence here. For even tyrants do not wish to look like villains.
You almost make it sound easy.
I'm an actor. I've been doing this my whole life. But don't you already know that? He simply says, and he looks a little bit smug, and his head raises a little bit.
She gives you a cheeky wink. And then she'll say, "Don't forget to look at the ground while addressing the prince."
Oh, once you have been told to rise, you may look at him directly. Just do not look confrontational while doing so. Remember, while you bow, you are expressing your inferiority before His Majesty. You're expressing the fact that you are their humble servant and that you are their subordinate. When you've been told to rise, remember it is always rude. Well, it's just rude to not look at someone in the eye. It is considered polite to look at someone in the eye. So once you are asked to rise, and you're asked a question and asked to respond, or asked to proceed with your business or the discussion, it would be wise to look at them unless told otherwise. There are some who want you to look away at all times. They consider it rude, although these are the most, often the cruelest and the most arrogant of princes, ones that are at the end of their lifespans. While we cannot expect equal respect from the prince, we can expect a modicum by being polite. It might even be wise for us to bring a minor tribute to him.
Celaena looks excited, Celaena looks excited.
Perhaps a jewel of some kind, a token of good faith towards the prince.
She looks even more excited. She's like, "Yeah, booty. I mean, booty."
However, I could only say this to you, my love. Do not give him a gem that you stole on the day, because the police are going to be looking for that. And if they see him with that, they're going to be very upset.
She kind of waves away your concerns. "Oh no, I've been hoarding jewels for years now. I'll give him one of them out of my own private collection."
I've never heard of you to give away one of your own.
Well, I really, really want him to like us.
Well, if nothing else, I appreciate that I am not the prize to be paraded before the prince. And you see him sidle on over, and he locks arms with you.
She gives you a nudge. You know I wasn't talking about myself, right?
I'm aware. I was making a joke that you missed. His finger touches your nose. He boops you.
And boops the snoot. She
But I
kind
am
of playfully
surprised.
snaps at your finger.
The aggression is met with equal aggression as he dramatically pulls you in and kisses you intimately.
The biting stops.
You can see his forehead rests against yours again.
As I catch my breath, I say, "You sure know how to captivate my attention for a long period of time."
Well, I have been doing it all my life.
You get another playful nudge. Yeah, have been busy kissing your way downtown?
Only down your town.
And Celaena chokes on her own tongue.
Careful, I'll need that.
Yeah, she absolutely loses it, and she just starts to wheeze and laugh, and
Geoffrey will laugh along with her. And will sit down on the bed with her. And we'll wrap an arm around her. For her to lean on him.
she'll lean against him as she says, "I assume we can't say that in front of the prince?"
As much as I would like to give the prince a piece of our innuendo, I doubt he would be pleased. I'm sure the scourge would, but for all the wrong reasons. That said, you never answered my query.
She gives you a head tilt.
I've never known you to give away a jewel that was not yours. Sorry, that was found its way into your possession. What changed?
You can kind of see her bite her lip. Well, this is kind of the point where it's all or nothing, isn't it? And it's more important for me the possibility of us having a new home than any of the jewels that I have.
He's just stroking your hair a little bit. Give you a kiss on the cheek. Thank you.
She smiles warmly at you. You don't have to thank me for that.
You're giving something up of great importance to you for my safety.
She returns to boop on the snoot. Our safety and happiness. I'm willing to make every day. And she kind of gets a playful smile on her face. And then again, there are a lot of rich people here in America, so odds are that within 2 months' time, I've doubled my personal inventory anyway.
Ever the black cat, I see. Bad luck wherever you go.
She kind of chirps, "Not for me."
And missing trinkets. But that's more of a cat thing in general. What do you think?
She gives you a wink.
He winks back. He smiles broadly. There's a small chortle from him before he says, "What do you think of this city? It was only recently retaken from the Sabbat.
She looks out of the window to the streets below. I hate that everything is stacked so tall. I miss being able to just see for miles.
And he walks up to you, and as you're looking up to the window, Geoffrey wraps his arms around your waist, and you can see his chin rest on your shoulder as he whispers to you. Then we'll buy a penthouse on top of the tallest building in the city, or only Empire State Building. And then you'll be able to see across the whole country.
Celaena generally seems really excited about this new idea. She's like, "Oh shit, I didn't think about that." She kind of turns towards you and she's like, "Can we?"
All it takes is a will and a way.
And a lot of burglary.
I heard the Italians are quite well established here, actually. Once our introductions to the prince are made and we are granted residence, and he does act as if it's an assurity, as if it's already assured, I'm sure one or two would love to pay a visit to one of my fabulous parties. What a happy coincidence it would be if you were to just bump into one at the event. Perhaps I might introduce you.
She has a mischievous grin on her face. You won't get jealous? So she kind of gives you a wink.
Honey, please. If I got jealous of an Italian, I would be in jail for mass murder already.
She isn't even surprised by that statement. She kind of has the facial expression of like, yeah, that's right.
He's literally just making a stereotype of Italians being lecherous. I trust you.
She gives you a kiss on your forehead.
He'll give you a warm embrace. When we're done here tonight, I intend to start investing in the theatres on Broadway. If luck permits it, I might even have a performance or two.
She looks at you. You want to go back on stage?
I never left it. I was merely taken away. Of course, I could only do so for about a decade or two before people realized I was no longer aging. And then I'd need to retire, die in a tragic accident, and remake my identity, fall off the map for a few years, and re-enter. But that is a bridge I'll cross. That is a bridge I will cross 20 years from now.
She nods. You can make a fun game out of it. See how long it takes you every single time to reach the top again.
You're always one for games.
She kind of shrugs. Well, you always need some source of fun.
I will keep a record of how long it takes me to become the most famous man in New York. And
She nudges you, as long as you don't end up walking the street with some arm candy that doesn't look like me.
both his hands plant themselves firmly on your cheeks, as he says, "Darling, you are the only arm candy I could ever need or want, and I'm not a man with a sweet tooth."
Oh, vampires could blush. Well, they can, but she will smile at you and she'll kiss you on your nose. It's so unfair how good you are with words. I wish I had your gift.
You were better now than you were a year ago. Might be long. Give yourself some credit.
Well, turns out I have a very good mentor.
And I have an excellent smuggler.
Celaena just grins up at you, beaming with pride.
This city seems somewhat traditional, despite it being in a new world. Perhaps it is because it was one of the older colonies. Hmm. But I hear of the method they have for keeping people in check here. Despite this place's traditionalism, they do allow neonates quite a lot of freedom in Manhattan, so long as they look after the place and don't go around causing breach after breach. In a way, we could literally melt away and disappear into the crowd and just go about our lives. In theory, it's possible we might never even see the prince again.
She chuckles. Geoffrey, you've never been the person to disappear in obscurity.
No, but I see you make a habit of it.
You get another cheeky boop with the snoot.
I'm just emulating you as your biggest fan. We'll see. We should go and meet the prince now.
Celaena has a oh shit expression on her face as she's like, better put on my shoes and everything, and oh god.
Just remember it how we rehearsed, and everything will be fine. And if you ever find yourself struggling for words,
She kind of holds up her notebook.
just give me a nudge.
As she is putting on her shoes, you can hear her mumble, "You'll be black and blue before the night is over."
Only because you're a violent bedmate.
Her head just whips up like, "What?"
He's not even looking at you. It was just that sly as fuck smirk from this wily scumbag.
Celaena's response will be, "Well, don't hug the covers and we don't have to fight about it." And she'll stick out her tongue at you.
Mm-hmm.
Celaena finishes putting on her shoes and she'll go well, into the little safe that's in the room, and she will go through all the jewels that she has in there, and she will pick three of them and she'll take them out towards you, and she has them in her hands, and she'll hold them in front of you, and she is like, "Which one of these three do you think is best suited?" And she has three pieces of jewelry in her hands, one with a blue stone, one with a green stone, and one with a red stone in it.
Blue is the color of adventure. Not something I believe the prince would appreciate if he is looking for errors in our manners.
Celaena takes away the blue one and holds out the red and the green one.
Did you know that red and green were contrasting colors?
She kind of looks at you as like, "Do you think I'm a complete idiot?"
He asked it as a rhetorical question. I am tempted to say both on this premise, but perhaps red. It is the color of our clan and represents our passion as well. And yours.
She will hand the red. Well, it's what will it be? Um, she'll hand the red one to you as she puts the blue and the green one back in the safe. And she for longer, she will look at the red one in your hands with kind of like an expression of "my baby."
He puts it in this little box. And hand rest on your cheek again. Look at me.
Her eyes snag on the box for a few seconds, but then she'll look up at you.
He lightly kisses you on the lips.
She smiles warmly at you.
Everything will be fine. Thank you for everything that you've done so far. Soon we'll just be able to get back to our lives again.
She will kiss you as well. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. And we'll do great.
Yeah, we will. Come on. He will hold his arm out for you to lock it with.
And lock it she will.
Oh, pardon?
Oh, and lock it she will. So she locks her arm around his arm.
And most gentlemanly, he will walk her out of the building with him and onward to their introduction to the prince. And that is where we can end this scene.